Welcome back to Playing Catch Up, where myself, Tamara Brown, and Kylie Wang catch you up on everything involving South Florida sports. Let's get started with the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is a big one, the Eastern Conference Finals. So the Heat are going to need a couple of things going into this series. Luckily, they do have some much-needed rest under their belt. The Celtics coming off of a really hard 7-game series versus the Raptors. So hopefully for the Heat, they will be tired. They're going to need Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder to really step up and be big pieces in this series. They're going to need them to shut down Boston's wing players, which is what they haven't had previously. So that could be a really big factor in this series. Gordon Hayward is supposed to come back at some point for the Celtics in the series, probably not game one. He's been kind of dealing with an ankle injury since mid-August, so we'll see when he comes back. But give us the deets on the Celtics.
Obviously, the Celtics came away with 2 wins over the regular season against the Heat, so that's pretty interesting coming into this series. And then also, you mentioned they played a 7-game series, so they might be a little tired compared to the Heat, who, came out on top against the Bucks in 5. So I think that will be an interesting thing to see here too, as well as Jason Tatum, who came out of that Raptors series with a double-double, averaging throughout the series with 24 points and 10 rebounds. And also, this is a Celtics team that has experience in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been here 3 times out of the last 4 years. So that veteran experience, if you want to say, in going into this series for the conference finals is going to be key.
Yeah, for sure. And game 1 is going to be at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure you don't forget to watch that. And now let's move on and talk about the Marlins, who have been pretty interesting lately. They're actually now second in the National League East. The couple of games, this doubleheader versus the Phillies recently, I know you kind of have some deets on that, and then we'll get into a couple of those interesting players. But go ahead, tell me about the series, please.
Yeah, the series with the Phillies was definitely kind of like back and forth. It was like Marlins won 1, Phillies won 1, back and forth, back and forth. But Sunday, honestly, I thought that the Marlins looked great. I mean, Sixto's game in the first game of the doubleheader on Sunday, phenomenal. He played a complete game for the first time in his career and picked up a huge win. And then they went on to complete business on Sunday too and won both games of the doubleheader. So seeing that just complete game in both games for the Marlins was huge. And the last game of that series is tonight, actually.
Yeah, and you talked about Sixto, but someone that we also need to mention is Braxton Garrett. He made his pitch versus the Phillies in game 2 of that series. He did great. He had only 1 run on 3 hits and 6 strikeouts. Obviously, we talked about how Sixto had an impressive game, but combine their stats over those 12 innings that they both played on: 2 runs, 6 hits, 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. Not a bad stat line for 2 rookies.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better game from both of them, honestly. I thought that was just like a phenomenal day. Like I said, it was just like been back and forth with the series, and that day they picked up the win in both games. So couldn't ask for anything better to complete your weekend for sure.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated. It looks like they might be getting a playoff spot, but we'll keep you updated here, so don't miss out. Now, talking about Inter Miami.
It was actually pretty exciting in my Friday playing catch up. I was like, wow, still undefeated at home. Like, they've been playing great. And then they picked up their first loss right after that against Orlando City, 2-1 at home. That's their first home loss of the season. I mean, it's got to happen sometime, right? But Orlando scored in the first half in the 34th minute, and then the equalizer was in the second half in the 65th minute by Inter Miami. And then 4 minutes later, the equalizer kind of vanished when Orlando regained the lead in the 69th minute. Very unfortunate, obviously, but it's got to happen sometimes, and they're moving on to their next game on September 19th, where they host Atlanta United. But I hear you have some news about some very important roster moves that the Inter Miami has.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a really long time, and it finally looks like it's this close from becoming official. It's been like this close, and now it's this close. So Gonzalo Higuain is just getting closer and closer. He finally reached a deal with Juventus, his previous club, to pay out the remaining year in his contract so that he can play in the MLS. He's actually in Miami right now doing his medical exams. So it looks like he's coming here. We have a little bit of like some rumors circulating about his salary. Supposedly, he's going to get the biggest salary ever in the MLS and get paid at least $7 million a year, possibly more like 8 or 9 with compensations. There have been some conflicting reports, so we'll bring those details for you as soon as we get them. But assuming everything goes well, he could be playing as soon as September 23rd, which is when Inter Miami plays the New York Red Bulls.
That's huge. I will definitely be looking forward to seeing what happens with that salary for sure.
Yeah, so that's a huge deal. But let's talk about more huge deals. The Miami Dolphins had their first game on Sunday.
We have been waiting all summer for week 1 of football. So it's really exciting that it was here. Obviously, we talked about before the show began, just with everyone's comments about how the Dolphins played against the Patriots and Cam Newton. But honestly, again, it's week 1. Yes, they had some trouble stopping Cam Newton's rushing game. Yes, there were some turnovers, but it's week 1. It's week 1. So I think, obviously would love to see improvements from here with obviously the interceptions and the turnovers. That's got to stop. But I think that there's a lot of improvement coming for this team, and people shouldn't write them off after the first game. What do you think?
Yeah, my message to Dolphins fans everywhere is please calm down. We are 60 minutes into the season. We are literally 60 minutes into the season. We are like one day in. Calm down. It's going to be okay. We've already seen, there were a lot of improvements. We talked about the improvements to come. There's been so many improvements from last season, which like last season was a dumpster fire, but it all have gone up, and it did. But like, when was the last time anyone saw a Dolphins offensive line that worked, that was good and held and managed to keep a pocket tight and that they did. They finally did. Obviously, I did not see Ryan Fitzpatrick being the Dolphins' biggest liability in this game. He threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
I will say that I think at least 1, possibly 2 of those were not his fault. And the Patriots secondary plays very, very tight coverage. I was at the post-game press conference, and literally every player that spoke, including Ryan Fitzpatrick, used the phrase, "We have to get better." Right? And so that's just the focus going in. It's being driven home, and I think that they are going to get better. So just calm down, give them some time. We'll get there. Talking about some more exciting and like more winning team, the Miami Hurricanes. They had a really great game, which we talked about previously, but tell us about their new matchup versus Louisville coming up.
That's going to be an exciting one. Both teams officially yesterday are now ranked in the top 25 in the AP and the coaches poll, which is huge. So that game is actually going to be a college game day game. This is their second sight of the season, which is just honestly exciting. Last week they were at Wake Forest Clemson. Now this week they'll be at Miami at Louisville. And it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Obviously, both teams coming off their wins on Saturday. Louisville played Western Kentucky and had a strong performance. Miami had a strong performance against UAB. So it'll be very interesting, obviously, too. First conference game of the season as well, to see, where this team really stands. What did you think about the game after, you were there on Thursday night? What did you think about the team that you saw, and what are you looking forward to on Saturday?
Well, this is another thing where I'm going to tell Hurricanes fans to calm down, because we won the game and people were saying, oh, we won the game, but we played like trash. And we didn't, okay? We could have played better, yes, but it's the first game of the season. We have a new quarterback.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw a Canes quarterback with legs? This is the most amazing thing in the world, although I will say that if Derek Kane keeps just diving headfirst into defenders, I'm going to have an aneurysm. It makes me very nervous. One of the storylines there was that Cameron Harris, the star running back, was injured. We haven't really heard any updates about that, but I did get some inside information saying that they think that he's going to be fine for the Louisville game. They actually did change the time of that game to 7:30 on Saturday, which is very unfortunate because it will conflict with the 8:30 p.m. Heat game 3 of their Celtics series in the Eastern Conference Finals. So pick and choose which one you want to watch. We'll see how it goes.
Open one on your laptop and have one on your TV. Watch both.
She's a smart cookie, guys.
You can, you can have your cake and you can eat it too. You can do both.
Why not? Why not? One on one, the other on the other. It's going to be fine. All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It was such a pleasure. Make sure you click subscribe, and make sure you follow us both on Twitter at Kylie Rae Wang and at I'm Tamara Brown. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again in just a couple of days.
See ya.